In the top position, he is our Chinese Terran player, Time. And I'm going to tell you, he is of the essence versus this guy down here. He has all the power of the cosmos. He is Solar. Literally lighting up the sky, just like he lights up our life when we do get him to join in on these events, because he is a very fun player to watch, I've got to say. Just has a huge repertoire of builds that he pulls out in some of the most crazy situations, and it's just really an immense joy. Even though I don't really like Zerg players as much overall, I do think that Solar is one of those exceptions, because he is a crowd pleaser no matter where he goes. That's a very good point. His streams definitely do show that kind of English skill, which makes him so popular with the foreign scene as well. But right now, nothing too crazy from either side. We're seeing these pretty standard openings here. And I think that's kind of to be understood. In the first map is kind of the feeler map. You never really want to be too crazy early on. Just because that will give you that small disadvantage later on in the series. Now, one thing I have seen a lot of Terran players do recently is go up to that factory, and after doing so, just getting that additional third CC up very, very quickly, just to make sure that they stay extremely safe in terms of that later stage economy game. It really allows you to kind of power up, get to that 3-base Terran much, much quicker, and keeps you equal on the base count, which is where you never want to be as a Zerg. Now, already Time going to be getting a couple of cheeky little pokes here. Not really going to get anything here. Solar is very good on his control. And then, yeah, there with the queen popping, you do have to get on out of there, as this first queen going to be dropping that creep tumor in a pretty defensive position right there. And there you go. That third CC has gone on down. So Time going to be able to get that Terran explosion very, very early. Hi, Sun Lily. Okay, so again, nothing really too crazy. We got those Hellions coming on out. Those are going to be for a little bit of map presence. They do have to kind of be careful because it is such a long distance, so those Lings have a lot of potential surround locations where it becomes very difficult to kind of maneuver into the natural. But as long as Time is kind of generally paying attention, he should be good to go. And off the back of this, we have the Banshee as well. Now, one thing to note is that we don't actually see those Hellions moving across the map just yet, only now reinforcing that Reaper. Now, that can be just a little bit of a fluke, quote unquote. But right now, I think Solar is going to be a little bit confused here. He sees that there is no cloak starting, so he's probably wondering if it is potentially a Banshee. Just because you do usually want to get that cloak in there. But taking a look at this, we actually do have even more Hellions on the way. That might not seem like a lot, but it can be pretty telling of what Time's next move is. It's kind of feeling like right now he wants to go for a very big stim timing, just pumping out those Marines, kind of keeping this Hellions alive in good health, and then push with just a massive amount of Hellbats and Marines in the back. Solido, to his credit, is doing a lot of good moves right now. He's getting that Carapace set up And what that'll allow him to do is play it a little bit more safer, even though he did lose 6 drones right there. Not the biggest of deals for him. But yeah, he's getting those upgrades right now. He's going up to Lair Tech, so any kind of timing that Time can do is on a bit of a clock as these tech structures start to kind of finish up for Solar. That Banshee gonna go on home. It can't really do too much without that cloak. Taking a look at that income advantage, this is really the power of the third CC. Just those additional mules really helping out, and how fast he can actually get that second base up and running is just very immense there. Like Time is getting ready for a move out, as those siege tanks are not sieged up right now. Solar does see that, so it's a good indicator for him, but he's already got, I gotta say, I'm always impressed by these players and their creep spread, because we're only 7 minutes in and it's already halfway across the map. So this push coming out of Time, it has been scouted for the longest amount of time, no pun intended. And so now he's going to have to siege up off the purple carpet, and it's just such a long way to actually getting to that damage on the 4th base. He's going to save the siege tanks as well, so not being completely committed to this. He was kind of just waiting for that armory to finish so he could add in the Hellbats. But yeah, we should see him morph those in anytime now. I am dedicated to him having Hellbats here. There you go. But Solar does have plenty of time to kind of deal with this. He's got his Spire up and running, so he should be able to toss down some Mutalisks. But unfortunately for him, he actually has to use a lot of that gas for the Banelings, which are gonna roll in. Not the greatest of connections, and the siege tanks gonna be able to push that back as he loses the 4th. So already Time getting the damage that he needs done. He can actually just back up right now and feel perfectly fine. But, I mean, why quit while you're ahead? He's still sieged up in this location, and he wants to get some more done. I think he's got to be a little bit more aggressive with the siege up, though. Yeah, these Mutalisks going to be flying around, getting the easy pick off, maybe a second. Okay, so now he is going to be playing this a little bit more defensive, it seems. He still has a small map presence, but he's not actively pushing. So Solar gets a little bit of room to breathe, which is going to help him out quite immensely there. Siege tank not going to go down. Has to be careful not to lose these Mutalisks here. He's got that infestation pit up, so he's going to be going up to that fast hive, but you do need a little bit more gas income in order to make that really worth going up to. So getting that Mutaball up very quickly, getting the upgrades kind of complete, super crucial to making that next stage of your transition a much more powerful one. Now Banshee's going to try and roll on board to bait some of those shots out, but there are no Widow Mines with this. It's just pure siege tanks out of Time. I mean, from here, the creep spread is just right on top of the 3rd base of Time, so he's going to have to push very far with this. I don't think he actually has a scan to take care of it just yet, but he does get some really nice connections on the Banelings right there. Solar push back once again. Now Solar kind of ceding that location just a little bit here. This is a very committed push from Time, but you know, Solar's really going to let him come a bit more forward onto that creep, trying to spring a trap almost. But I don't know. The longer you let this go, the much harder it's going to be if you do clean it up, because you're going to lose all that creep spread and not have the ability to re-saturate yourself that easy. We do have the big Ling Surround, going to go straight for the reinforcements, but Time is already on top of the new fourth base, and the Banshees going to go for some connections. They do get soaked up by the Sea Shank, but there is more than enough. Time not paying attention to his army, so he is going to lose quite a bit of bio right there, and the Mutas are able to clean up. So from here, Solar just needs to clean up this little ragtag of units and stabilize. That's going to be the key here, as he's already lost 19 workers. My God. He just needs a little bit more versus this bio. Mutas starting to follow good focus fire there by Time, just making sure that he gets as many of those as possible. And you know, Solar, he never really is going to get that window that you would kind of expect after taking down a fight like that, because it was so cost inefficient for him. So many Banelings went down. He doesn't really have a huge Zergling count either. And the Mutaball is nothing to write home about. So now it's kind of just survive for a little bit longer while you kind of try and recover. Go for a little bit of a drop as he's pushing on the right side now, or left side rather, depending on which way you're looking at it. Plenty of Banelings coming on forward, but they're not really getting those connections, so that is a lot of gas that's not really helping out. The Ultralisks also don't have that kiteness just yet, so they can't fight this bio army. And a lot of Solar's forces are just going to be fighting over here to defend this new 5th base, as 13 more workers going down. I gotta say, I don't like calling games early here, but Solar is really just starting to struggle a bit to get any counter damage done. He hasn't really touched Time's economy in a long while. And now he finally does get a decent position right here. Cleans up a lot of the reinforcements, but essentially at what cost, as the forces of Time do just get to come on home and help defend. And yeah, at this stage, you're kind of wanting to get rid of some of those SCVs going bio so that you can get a bit of a bigger army and just rely on those mules to make up the difference here. Taking a look at that, Solar's not really had the lead in that army supply for a while. Now Time is being very cautious to remain off that creep, so Solar is getting himself some bot time in order to you know, that's the problem with Time's name. I mean, it's going to sound like I'm making puns all night, but I'm not. But yeah, Solar's going to get a little bit more room to breathe just with how passive Time is being right now. And now we do see kind of get those small little run-bys. The Muta's finally starting to get a couple of connections on those mineral lines. So it's helping him out a little bit, but Again, he's going to need a lot of room to breathe in order to make this work. As both players starting to max out, they got their banks started up. But here we go, another big push coming on in the Ghosts in the back to deal with the Ultras. And Muta's not able to engage the Marines anymore. Big Baneling connections right there. I gotta say, it was looking so good for time earlier, but now it's evened out quite nicely. Solar really just working his way back into it, like, exceptionally well. Go, so they're going to move on forward. The Baneling's not getting the best connections in the front line. You don't want to lose them to the Marauders. The splits from time are pretty decent right now. He's just waiting for the engagement. Huge Widowmine connections right there, all over the Banelings. And Solar's going to force his way back. Just trying to bait this army back onto the creep. The Ghosts all get taken down before they can even get some snipes off. A couple in the back do get a little bit done, but the Banelings rolling on in, going to clean up some of those SCVs. And it all comes down to this big fight right here. Does Solar have enough? As the Ultras start to fall, it's looking dicey as those Thors fighting 1-for-1 in the Ultralisks. Now keep in mind, this counter damage is still going on, but the Ultralisk does get cleaned up from that. And I mean, time is down to 60 workers while Solar is hitting 85, but he gets another snipe on the base. So it looks like time is actually just going to try and retreat here. But honestly, at this point, I'd say go for it. Like, there's no real point in dragging this game out. The longer you do so, the better of a position Solar's going to get into. And so, yeah, I like this. At least push forward a little bit. Give yourself a little bit of extra room by getting rid of that creep. And, yeah, now we're starting to run out of mineral fields that you can actually take right now, so these guys are going to have to be fighting for them. Yeah, time once again has an impeccable creep or pre-spread here. The Baneling's not really getting some huge connections. A lot of them going down on the Thors. The Ultras moving on forward, but they are going to get cleaned up by the Liberators. And the Thors do go down, so time just barely losing that engagement, but those Ultralisks are none the wiser. I'm not actually sure about that switch into the Liberators either. You still do have a healthy Mutalisk count, so those Liberators do have the chance to get taken down. And yeah, very interested to see this kind of transition from time. He did lose his entire army right there. So, I mean, Solar coming back into this one. This is just, oh my goodness. Masterclass ZVT. Still part of the masterclass. Okay, so he's getting a couple of cheeky kills right there. And his army's still out on the map. So he's still got that map presence, so he's not really allowing Solar He's not really allowing Solar to kind of have that free range. No, my mic didn't cut out. I've been muting myself to sneeze. I have allergies this time of year, so I just didn't want anyone to hear me sneeze. But the Banelings, I mean, it's going to come down to the Baneling count right now. That is the big money unit for Solar. These Ultralisks, they're good for kind of buffering, but they just get taken down way too easily by those snipes. There you go, that Mutaball as well just going down. Yeah, I you know, this game is so back and forth. I don't know who's going to win at this point. Like, at all. It looks so good for one side, then the other side comes back. How many nukes do we actually have as well? Is that under buildings or structures? Yeah, I guess we only have one. But still, that one nuke can make a big difference here in terms of that positioning. So we'll have to see when he does decide to use that. And it does look like we are in a bit of a situation here where Solar just feels like he can push on in. The Ghost in the front going to get those cheeky Overlord snipes. But the Banelings, they're getting soaked up by the Marauders in the front. So Solar has to retreat back. He's lost the base over here, so he's not really mining at peak efficiency right now. Only 2,000 minerals to 2,000. And that's kind of the problem. Like, he's getting these good engagements, but at the same time, he's just not getting that more than equal trade. Time, however, just feels confident enough to move straight onto the creep. Those Liberators going ham on the Ultralisks. And they're fighting underneath the acceleration field as well, so they're going to get even more damage done before getting taken out by the Mutas. And I mean, the banks is one thing to look at. Solar did have that 3k bank, but he's consistently expending it to kind of remake it for when he throws his Banelings into the Marauders, so he's never really able to keep it for very long. Time may have never had a bank, but it's been consistent. It's kind of been consistent with his trades. 11 more workers going on down there. Down to only 60, so it's going to get harder and harder for Solar to remake his units. This is game number 1, so this is definitely going to be a long night, Sushi. What have you brought me into? Nice. All right, so you know, Time's not really producing too much here. Now he's the one with a bit of a small bank, as Solar is a bit skint broke. But I mean, we're actually out of mineral fields right now. Every single mineral field has been taken on the map, so actually look at this. Over 1,000 mineral income advantage here for Time. That's the power of those mules. And the fact that he can have a bigger army because of it is so much better. Solar going to come in one more time, and as his supply starts to drop, he finally starts getting some of those Baneling connections, but it's just not really enough to finish up this Terran army, and I think that was the GG timing, and there you have it. Time made sure Solar ran out of himself. Get it? Running out of time? Maybe? No. Okay. All right, that was that was a masterclass TVZ right there. Just really going for that death by 1,000 cut strategy that I like, but not in a best of 5. Like, if you're doing 4 or 5 games like that, you're definitely going to be tired, and you're definitely going to have to kind of go into your next series a little bit worn down. So we'll have to see what he's going to be doing here on Romanticide, which does have those nice little angles for the Terran player to kind of push into. Oh, I know every game is not going to be like that, Silo. I'm sure Time has got something planned here for Romanticide. I'd love to see some of those more aggressive pushes, because one thing that has happened is Time beat Beyond with some very aggressive macro or micro play back in the Republic of Gamers qualifiers. So if he can beat one of the best early game Terrans out there with his gameplay, then I'm sure that we can see that come up from here. So let's introduce these players once again. Spawning in the top position of Romanticide, he is Time. And his opponent down here in the bottom, he is Solar. All right, so let's see what these guys are up to. Looks like Solar's just going to be going for the standard hatch gas pool, and we should be seeing potentially the Reaper coming out for Time. So everything's pretty much right with the world right now. I guess after a game like that, you really don't want to kind of change it up just yet. You gotta see if that last game was a fluke, if it took that long on purpose. But yeah, right now everything's pretty standard. Not really too much else to say about it. I mean, I would like. Obviously, I'm the kind of guy who always likes to see the players be aggressive. So like that roach timing with the spawning pool first, the 2-1-1 from the Terran. But yeah, we're probably just going to see that third CC come on down once again, just so he can stay equal in terms of that upgrade count. And you know, one thing I've been seeing out of the Zerg players, just to kind of avoid this location for as long as possible, they've been going for this more aggressive third base location. Solar, though, not going to do that. He's just going to say, you know what, you can point your siege tanks right there and I'm still going to beat you. That's how confident he is. I'm just going to kind of dance around here. He's looking for that creep tumor, but the queen's so far forward that he's just not going to get it. Looking in here, we got the third CC down once again. I don't think Solar has gone in with these overlords in the series just yet, so he's not really getting that scout off that he needs. In fact, it's kind of the weird positioning here for both of these overlords. You do have a little bit of a peeper tower right there that I don't think is seen. So that's a little bit of a better place to put them, just so that you can stay confident and know where the army is at all times. But you know, other than that, pretty standard stuff it looks like. The question is he going to throw down that tech lab and try and go for Banshees like he did in the last game? I don't think so. I don't think that's going to be a good option, especially not when you're going for a non-cloak opening. There we go. Fusion Core going to be popping as these Hellions looking for a bit of an opening. Solar does get in, and he sees the Tech Lab forming, but he doesn't know whether that's for an early stim or for some cheeky shenanigans because he didn't get far enough in that base to see anything just yet. Oh, is he going to make it? Just barely catches a glimpse, but now the question going through his head, is that an armory or is that the fusion core? I think in this situation he thinks it's the armory because he's just throwing down the additional couple of Evo chambers to get those upgrades started. That's really crucial to defend the Hellbat timing and to advance from there. So, yeah, I think he's getting ready for Hellbats here. Look at that. He's actually going to throw down the army behind it. So just going to couple the battlecruiser with a Hellbat timing. Very interesting play here from Time. This is aggressive, and if it doesn't work out for you, it's a little bit tricky to kind of transition out of it because of how much you have committed to it. The third CC definitely helps with that, but I don't know. The Hellions still kind of roaming around. Actually, this is just going to be mech behind it. Okay. Queens are out of position as well. He's getting Yamato cannon, but I don't see a second battlecruiser in the production tab just yet. But here we go. The Hellbats have morphed in the front. They are getting right on top of the third base, but the Zerglings running block while the drones run for their lives. Looks like Time just wants to stick around on this position as well. This is going to allow the Queens some time to get down here and help defend. But really, this is a lot of lost mining time for Solar. He's down half the income right now. Now the Hellbat can actually just kind of walk out of there. The Queen's still on the chase. As Time got some pretty good damage there. It might not seem like a lot, but the fact that he has saved everything really is going to help him commit much earlier with any kind of push that he does. We're going to find a little bit of damage of his own, though, getting a fresh mule and 4 additional workers. This is going to force Time to come on back home. And I mean, from here, we do see Solar making all the right moves. He's getting that Spire up just because he does kind of assume that there's going to be those additional battlecruisers in play. Well, you know, he didn't have the chance to click on the fusion core. He only saw it for literally a split second, so he had to kind of decide in his mind what it was. Yeah, here we go. I would like to see Time just drop a mule to repair that because it's very vulnerable to these Queens, who, by the way, have a lot of energy. But here we go. Yamato's going down on some of the higher energy ones. The Banelings not able to get those connections as they do get picked off before this engagement really starts. One of the battlecruisers is going to go home. But now it comes down to those mules are going to be enough to kind of clean this up. So now it's just get as much damage as possible before these go down. Honestly, I don't think that was great damage out of him for how much he committed. The big thing is he did save the battlecruiser, though, which is the most important part. Hellions are expendable with this build. kind of funny to see just the amount of damage that 3 Hellions can do. You see all these weakened Zerglings one shot away from death. But, you know, now they got the Thors to contend with. Time going very heavy into that Thor production. So they have to really watch themselves here. Battlecruiser is going to be coming in once again, though, as the Raptors going to do what they can against the Yamato. But those will fall pretty simply as the drones having to retreat. The first couple of correctors are going to drop, but they just get taken down. Time getting fantastic amounts of work done. He just wants to get on top of that mineral line a little bit more. Oh, losing the battlecruiser, that is never a good feeling. So from here, Solar has that infestation pit going down. He can really head up to Hive, potentially Swarm Hosts as well, to kind of break this down, because you never really. The big thing is you do need to kind of play it a little bit more. What's the way to put it? Conservative. Like, you just have to play it a little bit more careful. And get those chipaways on these units rather than go in for that big attack, because I mean, you're going to expend a lot of Zerglings and Banelings making that happen. Solar kind of just dancing around as well, looking for an opening. And the wall actually not completely complete, so the third phase is very under fire here. Time being forced to come on back home, but he's going to lose quite a few SCVs there. 7 going down with that attack. Even more going to start to fall, as Solar just wanted to focus fire those down, but now he's going to get one of those tanks, go straight back to the mineral line. Gotta say, that is not looking too good for Time. Here we go, the big engagement coming down here. The Baneling's not able to get those good connections. They're getting really soaked up by the siege tanks there, so he's not really going to have too much for the main engagement. Thor's going to be moving on forward as well. And now Time is going to back up. So he's not going to try and push his advantage. This is going to buy Solar a lot more time to kind of recover from that. Get that Baneling count up nice and strong. Once again, get some additional roaches, as well as just get that Ultralisk Cavern on the way. I mean, Solar, he can't really push into this either. That's kind of the takeaway from here. Is that, yeah, you won the fight, he's on the retreat, but like, at what cost there? You can't move in. You can't attack. Scan gonna go down. Try and reveal some of those tech structures as well. The battlecruiser is going to try and get a kill on this base, but Solar says, you know what, I've had enough. If you want to attack me, I'm going to go straight to where your army is not, and I'm going to try and kind of cripple that economy of yours. One thing to note: if you are fighting 3 battlecruisers with 10 corruptors, you are only fighting battlecruisers with 7 corruptors. This has been Stream Map. as this engagement coming on in. The Baneley's taking down a good chunk of those Hellbats in front, but there is still more where that came from. Solar needs to get a cost-effective fight here as his run-by not really getting done what it needs to. And yeah, he's got to clean this army up. Doors in the front going to soak up quite a few of those Baneleys, the siege tanks, pushing their way forward. And I mean, time is completely cemented in this siege position here. Kind of an interesting choice to siege those up as well. Those reinforcements would have been very nice for this attack. But I mean, he's still doing a pretty good job. He kills off the third. The drones did have to retreat to the fifth. But it's really that corruptor count that's having a problem, as it's not really super high. So it's not really taking down those battle cruisers as fast if he would like. But you know, he is getting them, which is the key thing there. Take a look at this. Time is being very cost efficient. 7,000 mineral difference. Enki, you're late. So Ben is going to try and clean that up, but not before getting the cancel on that base. Time not really reinforcing this position just yet. He is kind of consolidating his forces over here. I mean, look at this. We got those Broodlords in play now, which is good for Time since he has kept that he's kept that Thor production nice and high. Even going to start up 4 additional Thors. This boy has got the mad money. But now it kind of looks like Time wants to do this kind of attack where Solar isn't. So he's gonna just bank on the fact that those Broodlords very slow, unable to reposition easily. Yeah, he can just keep sieging up these locations and then retreating when the Broodlords show up while he builds up that Thor count. Now these armies are looking pretty scary for both sides here. 119 to 127. I mean, a lot of that is in these Broodlords right now. But here we go. That was a bit of a trap as the Thors. Remember, they have tremendous amounts of range. So they are going to be able to get right on top of these Broodlords without even really having to put themselves in danger. You know, the Blind Cloud's going to save a lot of them, but you do need to focus fire them down. The Broodlord's actually starting to get through that Thor count. That is not a good place for Time. We do have a small little run by up here. Going to get a little bit of work done, but not really too much. The Time actually on the retreat here. Still trying to do what they can, but they're not like, I can't say that they're not getting anything done because they are getting those a couple of drone kills here and there, but I would like to, you know, I kind of feel like it's going to be difficult for him to continuously go for Thor Battlecruiser because that is such an expensive unit comp that you can't trade super efficiently versus what Solar has. Especially not when you got infestors with that neural parasite on the field as well. The longer this goes on, the longer I like Solar's position. Even though he hasn't really taken that upper base effectively, he's still just really building himself a nice lead overall. Here we go. Once again, he's going to reinforce this lower position with a ton of additional doors to see what he can get done. Look at this. Actually, he does get a scan off, so he sees the infestors moving in. The question is, can he do anything about it? As the scan going down, most of those doors are actually been cleaned up. And this is not looking good for time. We have hit the 20-minute mark, so this is already longer than most StarCraft 2 series in the world. But no, the Battlecruisers do get another connection here. The Corruptor's going to have to go up to clean that up. Time, though. No, he's going to lose this base for almost certain. This is definitely what feels like an unstoppable force hitting an impenetrable wall in terms of Solar there, because he never has enough to kind of counterattack for big damage, but he always has enough to get that little bit of additional kind of wear down on time. But by the time he has that, we already have the next attack coming on through. And time, once again, is completely maxed out. More workers are falling, a couple of additional ones, and this base is under fire. He, you know, Solar should be able to save this if he sends some units that way, but I guess time has equalized once again. Casting spells in the chat like the wizards that you are. Hope you all are enjoying this series so far. This is definitely my favorite series of the night, no matter what comes up next. So it looks like we do see that Liberator transition. He does have the range, so he's going to use that to kind of help zone out some of those infestors, keep his Thors safe underneath. But I mean, it kind of feels like who's going to blink first for the next couple of minutes here. I don't think either side really wants to push into each other. Time though, building up that bank. That is a very, very healthy bank for the next Remax, because he's definitely going to have to Remax after this engagement. Liberator's going to be popping on down. You do have to be careful, though, because you can get surrounded right here. There are two different locations Zerg can come from. But, you know, once again, he's going to get the kill on these bases. The Broodlord's going to try and inch their way forward. But now there's Vikings to contend with, so Parasitic Bomb going to be very important for keeping those back. The Thors do get cleaned up once again. But Battlecruiser is actually going to be shifted away four times, so he's going to lose those to the Corruptors once again, and he loses the fight. He keeps losing the fight to these Broodlords. He just really hasn't had the answer, even though he has the perfect unit comp to deal with it. You know, Solar just really making it look easier than it definitely is, because I'm sure these guys are microing those hearts out in their engagements. Yeah, look at that. Average 410 and 370. Time is going to take the base that Solar meant to, but he's going to sacrifice 2 additional ones and not even going to be able to keep that up. Finally, Solar has enough to push on forward. Maybe not enough to clean out the game just yet, but I think another big Remax, especially after killing off 21 workers, is all he's going to need to finish things out here. The Hellions, though, going to get some new nice connections. And there's actually not that many Banelings in the army comp to deal with this, so he is going to back up and just let it fall. The drones do not want to go there. There are barbecues happening. Oh, he accidentally hits the Infestors as well. He had no idea they were there. Fungal does whip. Yeah, okay, so here's what you gotta do, Time. Focus fire down those Broodlords and keep your Thors in Liberator sight so they don't go down to the Infestors. That's all he has to do, but it looks like Solar's not gonna really give him that opportunity to be safe here as he's going for another big run by, trying to clean up that base. There are so many Broodlords that they're just able to take down the Thors very efficiently here. But the Broodlord numbers starting to fall a bit as the Liberator is going to get a little bit of splash as the Vikings, they start to go down now. So I mean, Time not focus firing either, but that is more than enough. Time will take the game. Oh my goodness, I couldn't really see that engagement too well. But after he lost the Broodlords, that was a pretty easy GG, I'd assume, for Time. Now that does mean that Time will go up to match point. And from match point, we'll have to see if he can close it out. Solar saying mech a little bit imba in the chat. Hashtag GeoFuel is our sponsor. Check them out. But yeah, I mean, this has pretty much become I want to wear you down. I don't care if I don't care who wins this series. Whoever does is going to be so tired for their next one, because there is a best of 7 that they have to contend with after this. But you know what? Let's introduce these players. No, I'm not drunk, just tired. Spawning. Down here in the bottom position of Death Aura, representing Kaitsu, he is Time. And his opponent, up here in the top, also representing Kaitsu, he is Solar. So yeah, this is a team kill, and I actually totally forgot about that until just now. Solar on that Chinese team. But, yeah, you know what? I know who's going to win this series. A player from Kaitsu is going to win. And also, I'm definitely not pronouncing that right. But, yeah. So anyway, doesn't look like that much has changed. These guys might be using this as some good practice versus each other. You know, these two obviously face off a lot in some more premier tournaments. So a lot of the times these show matches, which have a smaller prize pool, are used to kind of cement your builds a little bit better. You don't really go for the crazy stuff that you want to hide. You just try and play it straight up, and don't risk the bigger money. Now Time thinking something is up. He is going for a bit of a scout around, while Solar is going to be going for a little bit of a faster third hatchery. Just trying to get that economy up and running pretty nicely here. We should see pretty soon if Time is going to throw down that second CC. Looks like he's not at the moment, so a little bit more. Never mind. See, here's a little tip for all the casters who want to make it big. If you ever want a player to do something, say that he is not going to do it. That is the best way, because they will instantly say, you know what, I'm going to prove this caster wrong, even though I can't hear him or know what he's actually saying about me. I'm going to prove him wrong. Yeah, we do have that third CC coming up, so it's going to be another bit of a macro game here. Hopefully not another 20-minuter. I think that he does want to kind of close it out a little bit quicker than that. So we'll have to see if he's going to try and hit a crisper timing. Yeah, look at that. He's got the Liberator on the way. That's already a bit of a change. Oh, thank you. Two semesters of Mandarin really help me pronounce some of these guys' names sometimes. But you know, Solar is going to be coming in here. He sees the stim, so he does know that there's going to be a little bit more aggression coming his way. He would like to see that Liberator popping out, which I do think he did. And so from here, it looks like he's going to be throwing down those Evo Chambers and once again trying to kind of stay ahead in some regard. If you can stay equal or ahead in the upgrade count versus a Terran player, you're just gonna take really good fights with your Zerglings, with your Banelings. The Liberator gonna come in here try and get a little bit done, but not gonna happen. But you know, Time just trying to do what he can. I think from here we got the lair coming down, additional drones, and yeah, those upgrades coming on in. Time definitely looking for an angle of attack. If he does decide to dive in there, that's going to be pretty dicey because you do need to get quite a bit of damage in order to make it worth it. He does clean up some of the creep, though, which is pretty nice. That's just going to be respread, though. You know, now he's going to kind of rotate around this location, try and get a couple of cheeky kills. Hopefully a drone will just come right into that tree there. I think drones do climb trees. Don't quote me on that. My lore is a little bit rusty. Oh no. Is that me? Is the stream still live? Hello? Okay, so the stream is still live. I wonder what's going on right there. Am I just losing connection to the game? Okay, Inu's dropping out too. That's kind of, yeah, StarCraft 2 has been pretty buggy. Yeah, the server might be going down. Crap. Okay, yeah, the EU server was going down yesterday. I think this new wait, hang on. Hang on, what's going on? Okay. Okay, bear with us, guys. Little technical issue. Apologize for that. That maintenance is for Monday the 7th. Sorry about this, guys. We're going to have to see what we can do here. Okay, do you want me to hit surrender then, Sushi? And we can just switch the replay over and cast from replay? Okay, yeah, just message me what you want to do, Sushi. Alright, I'm gonna hop out of that, see what happens. Okay, yeah, because I'm on the... Okay. Yeah, something's going on right now. Just when it was starting to get good. I'm going to hide that while I put in my information. Okay. Both me and Inu are back on. And I see solar here too. Okay. Small indie company, guys. Small indie company. So, I mean, this does give me a chance to remind you guys that if you like this tournament and everything else that AlphaX do, you can check out the link in the chat to head to the Matcherino page. And from the Matcherino page, if you use the code AX222, then you can add an additional 50 cents to this prize pool. I'm trying to get back into it. Oh, they forgot me. Okay, so I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be heading into a replay here, and we'll just start from the point where we left off. We just need to find time here. I don't see him in the chat. I think Inu has him somewhere hanging out. I'm going to cast some spells while we wait. Yeah, if you want to help out as well, another free way you can do that is just cast some spells using the channel points. I don't know exactly what it does, but it does boost, kind of boost the server or the channel a little bit there. Yeah, apologize once again for this little lull there, guys. It happens sometimes. It's kind of the problem with these live events. You can't really, you never really expect what's going to happen. Whew. All right, tell you what, guys. We're just trying to find time right now. The player, not the. Not the actual time. So we're gonna be. I'm just gonna hop to a quick break right now, while we get that taken care of. Thank you guys so much for tuning in so far, and we'll see you soon. We're still gonna be casting this. Don't worry. Nothing's ended just yet. But yeah, while we get time in there, we will see you in just a sec.
Nuclear missile ready.
Okay. So we should be getting back into things here in just a second. I did see all three of the players, or all two of the players rather, and into the Inu. So I'm just waiting to just waiting for the invite to the lobby. That was a little bit strange. Again, we apologize for the delay. Yeah, I mean, so far this has been a pretty fun series to watch. I'm really sad to see it kind of get marred by these technical difficulties, um, because it was, because I mean, so far it's like just been action packed all over the place. I've seen different so many different builds from all over the place. You know, Time. He's a very well-rounded player. In terms of that, just the fact that he is able to kind of juggle that bio and mech. A lot of players kind of stick with one or the other, and they, you know, they kind of don't really foray into the other type, which can be kind of hurtful because if you know that your opponent is going to be going for the same kind of composition overall, then you're not really going to have that kind of advantage. But you know, I'm trying to get okay. We're getting into the replay finally. I'll stop kind of still kind of bobbling. But Time finally was able to make it back in. His issue was resolved. You know, StarCraft Sip, I knew for a fact you were about to write something positive, so I was really waiting for your message with bated breath right there. But you know what? Something else I've been waited with very bated breath. We have this game finally getting back underway. We're going to recover it from the replay. We're heading straight to the moment. 6 minutes, 16 seconds. Where things went down. Hopefully that we can get through this one and the potential fourth and fifth game as well. Or who knows? Time might say, you know what? I'm not gonna risk that. I'm just gonna win the game right here. Who knows? So many things can happen. Do I have any more spells? No more spells. You know what? Sushi has seen it. Okay, here we go. All right. So with the recovered game spawning down here in the bottom position, he is our red Terran player, Time. And here's our blue Zerg, Solar. You know who they are. And you know what? Time is just going to say, you know what? That took way too long. I just wanted to go for a nice parade push across the map. He's got plenty of units to do so with. If we kicked out Creighton, can I have his stuff? Nah, I'm just kidding. We're not going to kick out Creighton. He is too big of a positive influence on our lives. But you know what? Time's going to be looking to kick out Solar of this game. So he's going to be positioning himself close to the 4th base location. We do see Solar going to be gearing up to kind of pick off the reinforcements as well as kind of keep Time back from this. He's also set up for the surround if necessary. But, you know, here we go. Time going to play it a little bit defensive, just trying to stay off the creep as Solar jumps on top of this. The first siege tank does go down. And this is a really Pyrrhic victory there for Solar. He can't really engage too far forward with this. Time saving just enough to make sure that he can stay in this engagement. The Hellbats, or Hellions rather, going to be joining in with the attack. And now we have a bit of a timer. Those Mutalisks about to start popping, so you need to keep that Marine count nice and high if you want to keep this attack going. There's just not that much splash. Like, at some point, Solar is going to be able to just start overwhelming you with the amount of lings that he's able to produce. The Baneling is going to jump right on top of this once again. One shot going off of that siege tank. The second one not going to be able to siege up in time. That will fall, but the Muta is going to be able to clean up those Hellions, and Time is completely forced back here. So now Solar has pretty much a good control of the map as Time has to go back and play it a little bit more defensively for the time being. And look at that. Even going to get that infestation pick, go straight up the Hive. Time going to try and dive on top of those Mutalisks, but not going to get it there. We do see Solar going to try and respread that creep a little bit. Just trying to get that out into the middle of the mouth. Yeah, I'm not hearing game sound either. It's kind of that's kind of weird. That's probably part of the bug. Okay, there it is. Okay, so the Ling's going to try and break down some of these rocks, just give himself a little bit more of an angle to come in from. Time going to try and stop that. He doesn't want to open up these attack patterns just yet. But we do have a little bit of a two-prong attack coming on down. He's got a big chunk of his bio. Going to take down quite a few of those Banelings, so that is a really nice pickoff for him. And he does get the wall off as well. The Muta's not going to be able to engage into this. Now both players are completely maxed out here. So it's going to come down to how effective can you be in these engagements. you really need to do a little bit better than just trade evenly, because if you do that, then the Zerg player is going to be able to overwhelm you quite handedly just with their increased production. But you know, Time is still out on the map. He is still pushing towards the 6th base or 7th base of Solar, but I don't know how far is he really going to be able to go. He's chasing the army quite far. The Baneling's actually going to get just absolutely shredded there. And so if Time wants to get something done, he's going to have to do it now before that Baneling count can be remade. Siege Tank, though, is going to go down. And here we go. Once again, Solar is going to try and dive on top of this. The Thors tanking a lot of those Baneling connections. They will start to fall, but that Muta count, not as scary as it could be. Looks like there's just enough bio here to get a couple more pickoffs of those Mutas before going down. And now Solar, with a 50 army supply advantage, is going to pick off the remaining Medivacs and just push his way through here. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to really be able to get this base, as these are +2 Lings. Nice connection on that. Widowmine going to help out, but I don't know. 23 more Banelings going to be morphing in. You're going to need a ton more Widowmine shots like that one in order to make this really effective. Baneling's going to be able to force this back as the Muta's coming on in. 12 additional workers going down. And I think this is just a little bit too much for Time to handle. Solar making a series out of it. And cleaning up that base, cleaning up a lot of Time's chances in this game. Time is going to have to play this extremely defensively if he wants to make this work, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing right now. He's got the missile turrets coming down to stop the Mutalisks, but they're just going to rotate around to this relatively undefended position. And I mean, I don't know what he can really do against it right now. A lot of other supply depots there. He does get a couple of good snipes off with the Ghost transition. I mean, that's a good start for sure, getting those Ghosts up to help with the Ultralisks in the back. But the question is, do you have enough Marauders to kind of soak up the Baneling connections? And right now, the answer is not really. Although that Widowmine connection taking out quite a few of those Banelings, so Solar pushing a little bit too far forward here. He is going to get some decent connections here, taking down the 3rd though. And whilst Time does defend this location, it's not enough, as he is just completely cemented in his natural. Oh no, the Muta's actually taking a couple of big connections though. 11 more workers going down, though. I thought Time was getting his way back into it, but he's just really falling behind each and every single time. He's never able to actually recover here. Solar on the warpath. And I think as this position starts to fall, more SCVs dying at the 5th. Going to clean up the Banelings once again, but 38 more Lings on the production tab. Like, what can you really do versus this? only enough time, just keeps rotating around these orbital commands. That's not really what you need. You need that planetary fortress with such an aggressive position if you want to hope to keep that alive. So they're just going to pretty much hit a brick wall here. And you know what? This time he does have enough to kind of break through that brick wall with just his forehead. As he's going to, he does lose the Lings this time, but once again, getting more SCVs. The Banelings taking down the Ghosts. The army supply, half that of his opponent, and the workers even worse, though, dropping the mules right on top of the Mutalisks. I think we should be seeing time drop out of this one, and there you go. Solar getting back into the series with a 2-1 score. The bracket, let me see if I can find you a bracket. There's the bracket for you. I'm not allowed to make it a link. All right, getting back into a party. Hopefully we don't have any more issues like the last time. I'm trying to remember what the next map is because they banned Lightshade and Submarine. Alright, so we were just figuring out it was Oxide for game number 4. Oh yeah, I am completely hyped for that one. Anytime you can get Beyond in a lobby, it is so fun to watch. And they're actually hanging out right now in the chat. They're just relaxing right there, waiting for their turn to play. Oh, fire truck. The dreaded hotkeys. Strike again. Yeah, so nothing too crazy out of this game. Once again, we got that similar kind of standard opening, bog standard as can be. We're gonna see the Reaper kind of search around. I guess this time he's kind of wanting to know whether there's some sort of attack, whether the Lings are gonna be sneaking around him. But he's not gonna find anything like that. Should be seeing that a third base go down as well behind this. I just. Oh, okay. So not gonna go for the 3cc. So he's gonna go for a bit of a faster game here. Maybe try and get damage a little bit earlier on. As we do see that Hellion gonna be coming down and pumping out the Marines. So that does tell me that this is a good potential to be a crisp Hellbat timing. And this is scouted, by the way. So Solar does see the fact that there's no tech lab building. He saw that it was a Marine. So that does tell you quite a bit if you are Solar. So what's he going to do? I am going to say that he needs a Devo chamber to go down so that he can kind of get those carapace upgrades. And from there, I think he needs to just pump out a couple of Lings to stay safe, since it doesn't look like he has a Baneling nest. And so far, Solar hasn't actually started to get that army count up. Taking a look at that, he's got 12 Lings, but that's nowhere near what you need to deal with this. We see the medevac coming on in as well. That's kind of the key to this attack, and here we go. Queen's gonna come out in the front, just try and poke down those Hellbats wherever they can get the damage done. But Time being very patient right now. He's making sure that he doesn't overextend here, so he's just going to go on home, it looks like, to deal with this counterattack that's coming across. But I'm liking this. He's still looking to get some damage done, so he's going to drop these 4 Hellions in the main base. I think when you do this, you need to get at least 8 workers for it to be worth it. So far, he doesn't get anything, but he does save majority of those Hellions, so good on him there. But Solar does see at pretty much everything here, so he's going to be in a wonderful position for this next stage, where Time is kind of just going to be going for multiple different locations of attack, where he's just going to really do his best to drive Solar's multitasking to the limit. Now, keep in mind, there is a Spore Crawler in position here, but the Hellbats might actually get on top of the drones, and that is some roasty, toasty drone barbecue potential there. Good block by Solar, going to make sure that he doesn't lose too much, and in the main base, he did get cleaned up, so Time not getting the damage done that he would like with that. Oh my goodness. That's a little bit painful to see there, but Solar going to be going up to that Spire Tech, and quite a heavy lead as well. Take a look at that. All right, so it is going to be Bio as he takes his third base. Now, one thing about this kind of harassment style, in this stage of the game as a Terran player, you do kind of need to sync up your harassments to go one after the other. Because if you really give the Zerg player time, they're really just going to get that huge lead very quickly, and you don't want that. You want to be forcing them to make Lings, to make Banes, to make those additional Mutalisks as you pick them off. Because if you don't, then they're going to get that 70 to 80 worker count. They're going to go up to probably even 90. And from there, they can just pump units non-stop. And it's really difficult to kind of break through anymore. Gets most of the Banelings, but he does get cleaned up right there. And this is not looking good for time at all. As we do see Solar just once again just really pushing his way forward. We do see that kind of transition to Widowmines, potentially Thor's as well. That would be the next logical choice. Did Beyond get another injury? That's pretty interesting to hear. I'm really saddened to hear that. He has been having wrist issues, or he did before he went to the military. I know he had surgery on his wrist to deal with it. Now we see Time going to kind of just rotate around with these two different armies. He can't afford to lose either of them, so you really have to be on top of them. Huge Widowmine connection there is going to help out, though. A lot of those Lings going down, and that is going to buy Time a little bit of an angle that he needs on the other side. Although it looks like he's just actually going to consolidate his forces down the middle, force those Lings into a bad fight there as he backs away. This is kind of interesting. Cleaning up a lot of that creep, but you definitely need a little bit more there. You're down 30 supply. Your opponent is up to that 90 workers. He's going up to Hive, and he's almost equal on those upgrades, so you're not really going to have that +3 advantage for very long. You can see a big Widowmine drop coming down there. Sorry, I missed that. Additional Widowmine going to be dropped right there. Yeah, I'd say that works. That's some good damage, but you still got to deal with the army, and he's doing so, cleaning up that run by. Now Time's actually looking a little bit better than he was just a minute ago. He's going to come in here with mostly Marines, but I feel like you need to sync up with the Widowmines, especially have to be careful when that Baneling count gets a little bit high here. But actually the Banelings streaming in one by one. So they will all get taken down. The drone's going to be heading towards that new base, but they are going to get cleaned up as well. Oh, Solar, you were in such a good position, but unfortunately that just kind of cost you dearly here as the Mutalisks trying to fight, but they are going to get cleaned up too efficiently right now. A couple of additional Banelings coming in to help, but even though Solar will eventually clean this army up, at what cost as these Mutalisks taking so many hits? Look at that, even just microing that Thor around to get the last couple of connections that he needs to finish off some of them. And now we see this constant stream of red come across the map in a parade push fashion. I think Time has done it. Yeah, you can kind of see Solar fighting for his life, but he's kind of just streaming his units and hoping to get those good Balin connections. He does clean up the Thorp, but, I mean, he doesn't have a scary Mutaball. He can't go up to any additional upgrades because he's spending all his money and all his larva on the Lings. But GG is called.